So, hello Eduardo, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hello, how are you? It's a pleasure being here with you. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoy the Butterfly Circus, which I believe that you just saw the short film just now, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it might have been a short film, but wow, it was so powerful. We wanted to start off by just asking you what motivates you to be involved in films like this, whether it's with your acting or your producing?
I was just, well, few months before I got the invitation to participate in this short film, I was, I was a little sad. I was going through a lot in my life, and I was like, a little down. And a friend of mine sent me this video from Nick Vujicic, which I didn't know who he was. And when I saw his video, I was so motivated. I mean, I got so excited about life. The problems that I had, I forgot after I saw that video. And I remember saying, I want to meet this guy. I want to put a poster of him in my room. So when I'm complaining about something, I'm going to look at him and I'm going to shut up. And so funny enough, a few months later, I got a phone call from the director of Butterfly Circus, and I didn't know who he was either. But he said, Eduardo, I'm working on this short film. And right away I said, thank you very much, but I'm not interested in short films. I just finished my first feature film. I'm working my next film. Well, think about it. Yeah, well, thank you so much, but I don't have the time right now. Well, it's with Nick Vujicic. What? It is with Nick Vujicic, Okay, so when can we meet? And everything changed. I met with him. I said, I'm so sorry to say no. Thank God that you mentioned Nick Vujicic, because I wanted to meet him so bad. I'm a big fan of him. He's definitely, without a question, a big hero. So when I met the director, and then he explained to me what the short film was about, and I didn't even care about what the short film was about because I wanted to meet him so bad. But when I read the script, that's when I realized, hold on a second, this is very powerful. This story is amazing, has so much depth, and is very profound, and I think it's going to be very, the message is very universal, because the language that the director used is powerful, but it reached everyone. So I remember, so that's how I got involved. But I remember the first day of shooting, they were putting me the mustache that I had for the character, Mr. Mendes. And then I see, finally, Nick Vujicic coming behind me and sitting next to me. And I was so nervous because I didn't know what the protocol was, and how to say hello to him. And, I said, Eduardo, nice to meet you. Please give me a hug. And I gave him a hug, and he just, he did this with his head. I love you, brother. Nice to meet you. I was in tears. I was very, very moved and very touched, because this guy, he's a giant. He's wonderful human being. He's changing the life of so many people, including my own life. He taught me so much. And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, which now I believe that it's not a friendship anymore. It's a brotherhood, he's my brother.
Yeah. And there was a sort of undercurrent of a pro-life message in that film, and a little bit about the faith as well. You could tell it had some real strong moral values in that film. But yes. I know you haven't always felt so passionately about your faith or your pro-life beliefs as you do today. Could you just tell us a little bit about what changed you?
Yeah, well, you're right. This Butterfly Circus, even though has a very universal message, at the same time it talks about the mission that we were all created for. It doesn't matter, where, how, what country, what language, what race, doesn't matter. I believe that we were all created for a very particular and beautiful and special mission created by God, that no one can do it but you or me, and it depends on you or me to discover, to find, and to be faithful to that mission that we were created for, so we can make this world a better place, so we can glorify God, or ignore that mission and focus on something else that it's based on selfishness, where at the end you are going to destroy everything around you, including yourself. So that's why I believe that this is a very powerful short film. But actually, before that short film, one day I was tired of waiting for a role that will portray a man as a real man. I started my career when I was 18 years old. I'm from very small town. I'm from a very small town, northern Mexico, called Jicotencal, Tamaulipas. I was raised there. I was raised Catholic, but my faith was not the center of my life. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know my faith very well. How can you love what you don't know?
Yeah.
I had the basic principles and values and everything, but I was seduced by the world, by the culture that tells you that, by this society that tells you that if you don't get to the top of the mountain and you don't have, fame, money, and pleasure and all this stuff, that there's nothing wrong with, fame, if fame is a mean to use, to be used to, to make a difference. But the way I was, brainwashed by the culture, by the media, is you need all these things so you can be fulfilled, so you can be happy. And at the age of 18, I moved to Mexico City because I wanted to be happy. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be an actor. So I started my career when I was 18 years old, first singing in a boy band for 3.5 years. Then after that, I started doing soap operas, then music again. And then one day, after 10 years of work, working really hard to achieve all these things that I thought I was going to be fulfilled and happy, was very confused because in one hand, I thought I had everything in my life, but in the other hand, I had nothing. I was very empty. Something was missing in my life. I didn't have any purpose. Everything was me and me and me, but I didn't even know that was the case. I was very confused. And then I met this wonderful lady that changed my life. I was 28 years old, 10 years of career. I was living in Los Angeles with agents and managers and the whole, team. So from the outside, it looks like everything was perfect, but inside, everything was dead, And I was just smiling and pretending like everything was okay, but I didn't even know what it was. I knew that something was missing, but I didn't know what it was. Now I can tell you more articulated, but at that time it was very abstract,
Yeah.
So this wonderful lady, Jasmine, she was my English teacher, and she started asking me questions, using the Socratic Method. What's the purpose of your life? What's the meaning of your life? How are you using your talents? Who is God in your life? Why do you want to be an actor in the first place? How are you choosing your projects and why? And many other questions. I started having a headache, and but she helped me to open my eyes, and because of her, I realized that the reasons why I wanted to be an actor were very superficial reasons, very selfish reasons. And because of her, I realized that I was part of the problem and not part of the solution. I forgot that whether you like it or not, media influence how people think. And I when she asked me, "Are you part of the problem, part of the solution?" And when I look back to see all the things that I was doing, I confessed to her, I'm part of the problem, but I'm gonna make a promise right now. And I told her, I'm gonna make a promise to God and to my parents that I will never use my talents again to do anything that will offend my faith, my family, or my Latino culture. And after I made that promise, I ended up not working for 4 years and I lost everything. But in losing everything, I found everything that really matters in life. The reason why I make that promise is because I realized that in the United States, we're more than 60 million Hispanics, and it's very sad that many people in America, they think that we are a threat to the democracy of this country because they think that we are what they see in film or television, the negative stereotype of Latinos, where very few times you see Latinos having the opportunity of being heroes, not like Superman, Spider-Man, but the everyday hero. And that's why, I was inspired, I was motivated to make this promise to say, you know what, I want to use my talents to do something that will make my mother and my father proud, and that I can leave a legacy behind, because I believe that art has the power to change people's minds and therefore how they think, how they live, how they behave. And sometimes we don't assume the responsibilities, because again, we forget that whatever you choose to do is going to, have a huge impact in the minds of especially young people. So after I made that promise, I ended up not working for 4 years, and I was led to open a production company so I can have the power to control the message. And I became a producer, and the first fruit of that movie was a little film that has changed the life of so many people, including my own life, and that was Bella.
Yeah.
And why? And I will, finish the long answer with this story. When I was preparing for my role, have you seen Bella? For those who haven't seen it, it's about a woman who is pregnant, and she sees abortion as her only exit. And my character, Jose, convinced her not to do it, and he ended up adopting her baby. So in order for me to deliver a truthful performance, I was advised by a friend of mine to go to this abortion clinic and to talk to a real woman who is pregnant, who wants to have an abortion, so I can interview her, so I can bring that experience to my character, to the set, so I can change judgment for compassion, and with love you can heal everything. Yeah. So I went there, and I thought something, it's going to be something very simple. I'm going to interview the first lady, I'm going to ask you questions, and that's it. I bring that homework to my character. But when I got there, I saw this young girl from Mexico. She recognized me because of the soap operas that I did in Mexico. They repeated the Univision, Latino channels, America Forever. So the first thing she said, "Are you Eduardo from from Soñadoras, Dreamers?" And I said, "Yes." "Wow, you look a lot younger on TV." I said, "Wow, I did that 20 years ago. I was younger." But anyway, that helped me to break the ice, and we ended up talking for 1 hour. She told me, I'm pregnant for months. I cannot have this baby because of these reasons. And I told her, Lorena, we're more than 7 billion people floating in this planet. Everything that happened in order for you and me to meet right now, millions of little actions and decisions, and this is not an accident, and I started talking from my heart. I didn't know what to say. That was my first time in a place like this, but because of me, she was late for her appointment, so she lost her appointment. I called her the next day, and then the next day, finally, I moved to New York. This happened in LA, in this Latino neighborhood. I went to New York, finished the film Bella. This experience, without a question, helped me so much in my performance. But when I got back to LA, her husband called me. Eduardo, he started screaming, and my baby was born yesterday, and we want to call him Eduardo. Please come to the hospital. You need to meet him. I remember, like yesterday, putting my phone down. I couldn't speak. I never thought in a million years, never imagined in a million years that I was going to be used as an instrument to save, by the grace of God, this little baby that 2 days later, he was in my arms. And that's the experience that changed my life forever, because since that day, I haven't stopped, and I won't stop until I die. This is my #1 mission in life. Everything that I do. This morning, just a few hours ago, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and we went to the biggest hospital in Mexico City that practice abortions, and we were talking to many young ladies this morning, and I do that very often, every Saturday or Friday, and by the grace of God, because of that experience that took place many years ago, thousands of babies have been saved by the grace of God from abortion, because of the movie Bella, and because of many other things that we have done, but because of Eduardito, who is in heaven right now because he died after he was born.
So he was named after you?
Yes. So we have a little Eduardito, Saint Eduardito in heaven, looking
that is
looking
beautiful.
to all of us right now.
I remember actually, probably a couple of years ago, my brother was outside our local abortion centre, and he helped a couple to continue their pregnancy rather than going through with an abortion. And I remember meeting them afterwards, and we were talking to them throughout the months that followed. And I remember just casually asking her one day, what was she, had she thought of any names yet? And she said, yes. She said, if it's a boy, I'm going to call it Sebastian after your brother. And I said, oh, that's beautiful. What if it's a girl? She said, I'm still going to call it Sebastian. I'm not sure the child would have been so pleased, but yeah, I thought it's such an honor, isn't it, when a parent feels so strongly that you were a part of that story, that they name their child after you. I mean, what greater honor.
There's nothing compared to that. I mean, this is no Oscars, no awards, no nothing. I mean, to have a human life that was going to be executed, and because of whatever reasons, and the father or the mother changed their mind, and later you are carrying that baby, it changed everything. I mean, it's just, I mean, life is sacred. It's not an accident. I mean, that life could be yours or my life. I mean, what's the price of your life or my life? I mean, of any other life. I mean, priceless. It's unique. It's authentic. It's irrepetible. How do you say that in English? Irrepeatable, maybe? I don't know how to say that in English.
Irreplaceable. Yeah.
Irreplaceable. I mean, so it's. I think when you are so grateful that you are alive.
Yeah.
In the name of gratitude, you go there to save lives.
Absolutely.
But by saving lives, you're saving your own life too.
I always think that. Yeah, the greatest gift I ever get from praying outside an abortion centre is how much it strengthens my own relationship.
Many years ago, I went to London to an abortion clinic.
Wow.
I forgot the name of the neighborhood, but we were there with like 5 friends, and we were just praying outside.
Oh, well, actually, just last week we had the news that one of the big abortion centres in Birmingham had closed down for good. So maybe it was that one.
Maybe that was the one. You know, it was literally, wow. It was like maybe 15 years ago.
Wow. Good.
I love London. I go there often. Well, now, because of obvious reasons, you know, for this year, I haven't been able to visit London, but my grandmother came from there, so I have some
fantastic.
Very
yeah, I'm just thinking back to the story that you were saying about your English teacher. You know, it reminds me of that responsibility we have to speak out about anything that's important to us, particularly when we're talking about pro-life beliefs. You know, because I'm just thinking we might think that we've only got a small sphere of influence, like maybe your teacher, she didn't have, you know, huge crowds in front of her. She just had that one person in front of her, you. But because she had that courage to speak up to you, and it might have been quite a daunting thing to really challenge somebody like she did yourself, but because of that, she has now reached probably hundreds of thousands of people because of the conversion that you had. So I think, you know, for a lot of us who are you know, working in the pro-life movement, a lot of people who are maybe listening to your interview might think, oh, you know, I don't have huge crowds that, you know, watch me on films or listen to me. But if you can focus on that one person, like that English teacher did, you never know who you're going to reach and the ripple effect of that. You know,
you have no idea. What you're saying is so right there on the point, because, you know, this is me at the age of 28 in Los Angeles. I didn't speak a word. I mean, I spoke few phrases like, you know, what is your name? What is the bathroom? A few phrases, but I didn't speak English very well, because when I was 40 years old, my parents, they sent me to the US as an exchange student program to learn English. But the first week, after a few weeks that I got there, I was playing on Brussels with someone. I was 14 years old, and they broke my arm, and because the table was wet. So it was an accident, but they sent me back because I didn't have the insurance. So I didn't have a good experience, and the English that I learned was very little, only a few weeks. And then when I was living in Miami is like the capital of Latin America. Everyone speaks Spanish. I didn't need to speak English anymore, and I had this kind of like trauma, you know, of a very painful experience, you know, for a 14-year-old kid. So imagine, why I ended up meeting this English teacher is very funny. Is the typical American dream. I was flying from Miami to Los Angeles with my manager, and I met a casting director on the plane. And he's the one who told me, listen, I'm working on this movie. I observed you, and I'm looking for a Latino actor. You speak English, and I said, well, poquito, very little. And well, don't worry, because 90% of the film you are going to be sleeping. And that's the character, so that's easy for you to do. I said, well, that's like I think I can do that, you know. And then when I got the script, literally I spoke like it was just 2 pages in the entire script. The entire story was sleeping.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to give you this phone of this friend of mine who is going to help you. And then my manager told me, wow, this card is going to change your life. He was the VP of casting for 20th Century Fox back in the days. Now, he thought changing my life because of my career. Actually, it was deeper than that.
Yeah.
My life was changed because that card, of course, because that person is the one who introduced me to Jasmine, my English teacher, who, when she saw me, I was like a lost case. I mean, 28 years old, doesn't speak English, he's lost, and but she didn't give up, and she started being very patient because I was very stubborn, and I thought I had the answers for everything, and when I was fighting every single thing she was saying. No, that's not true. No, I think you're wrong. So imagine, prideful, full of vanity, actor. I thought I was the last Coke in the desert. Can you imagine the kind of patience she needed to have to deal with this crazy Latino at the age of 28, full of himself? I thank God for the virtue of her patience and everything that she went through dealing with me, because she changed my life. And because of her, my family changed their lives, and my friends, and many others. Because of her, I opened a production company. Because of her, I ended up doing Bella and Little Boy and The Butterfly Circus, and now the latest movie that we have, The Sound of Freedom. This interview with you, all these, of course, many things happened. Of course, my mother was praying for me, which I believe that the prayers of a mother for their children are very powerful. My mother was praying hardcore for me in silence, you know. But Jasmine, she played an amazing role because she was the one who was facing me, and she's the one who knocked me down. And I'm gonna be grateful for eternity, my entire eternal gratitude.
But now you're passing that on, aren't you? Because you go and stand outside abortion centres and try to see the potential in every person there that maybe other people might not see. I know sometimes when I'm outside an abortion centre, I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, for instance, there was somebody came past and they started asking God to bless me because they were so grateful I was there. And then 2 minutes later, somebody else came past and he started telling me how disgusting I was for being there and what a terrible thing it was that I was doing what I was doing. And I'm just wondering, some of the experiences you've said have been really positive. Have you ever kind of encountered challenges when speaking up for your pro-life beliefs or going outside abortion centres like you do? Has it ever been hard for you?
Oh, yes, of course. Every day is a challenge, which I believe is good because challenge make you better. When you're, this is not easy. I mean, to go on, just to stay outside of the abortion, you need a lot of, courage and because it's not easy, to speak with a stranger. You don't know who they are. They don't know who you are. Next thing you know, like today, it's just, it's very intimidating too, because they're in line waiting for that door to be open. And next thing you know, hi, how are you? And right there, some of them, they don't want to talk to you. Some others, they are doubting, their decision. And you can tell right away in her eyes, but you need to go there and listen. I don't know who you are. You don't know who I am, but I'm here. I wake up very early today because I believe that this is important for the world, for you and for me and for my family and for your family. And we didn't even know what the consequences will be after this conversation, but I know that I'm supposed to be here. There's more than 7 billion people in this planet, and now you and I were here. We need to look for the signals, and the signs and everything. And then, are you okay? And sometimes, please, I don't want to talk to you. And then you have just to respect their freedom and just walk away. And then you start praying. but every day you start learning something, how to be, you know, just to be in the same position as a human being, as a brothers. You know, we're all wounded. We're all wounded. We're all broken instruments. Nobody's better. Nobody, you know, this is a journey. And sometimes it's like, how do you call this? Columpio. I don't know how do you say that in English. When you're down and your friend is up, and then you go like this.
I know what you mean. Yes.
So that's life. You know, sometimes you don't see anything because you're here, but your friends are there. But that doesn't mean that they're better than you. They're in that position.
No, quite.
Temporary, because eventually there goes the other way around, and that's why we're all connected, and that's why we all should be just a family. And by me going there is just to show my brother, you know, how much I love this person, and it's very difficult. Sometimes, you know, you go there and you don't talk to anybody because they don't want to talk to you, and then you leave. But then you realize, hold on a second, success is not in how many babies you're going to save or how good. It's to come here and to plant the seeds, to pray, and to show God that I'm working for you, saving lives. The rest is not up to us to see or not to see, because sometimes it becomes like, well, I saved 3 lives yesterday. Great. But what about the lady who's been there for 10 years and she hasn't saved one? God doesn't see the competition. God sees your intentions and going there. And even if you save or you don't save, you never know, because sometimes those 10 ladies that I spoke to, they went inside and I didn't see them. I don't know what happened inside. I don't know if maybe they changed their mind. Maybe I said something that later on the lady who sat next to her said something else and connect what I said. All these things you don't know. We are called, like Mother Teresa said, we are not called to be successful. We are called to be faithful to God. That is our success, to be faithful to God. And I think by just showing yourself there, talking about it like we are doing it right now, you know, making movies, or if you're not a filmmaker, just praying is the most powerful thing you can do. Praying for the
I think it's just showing up sometimes, you know, and that's all we have to do, just to show up and make that effort and leave the rest to God. And I know one of the films that really portrayed that really very well was Unplanned, which I know a lot of people would have watched. And I knew you were involved in that, weren't you? I think one of the executive producers with Unplanned.
Yes. Yes, and we did something very powerful in Mexico with this movie, because this movie, first of all, is based on the life of a friend of mine, Abby Johnson, which I met her many years ago. So knowing her and then, you know, have this movie in Mexico, we wanted to do something different. And what we did is, in Mexico, we have 32 states. So what we did is, a movie comes and goes. We want to leave something forever. The movies opens the emotion, you know, provokes creates the emotions, but then the emotions, they go up and they go down. So you need to follow up, you know, with a very concrete call to actions. So what we did is, I called like 15 legislators, friends of mine from different political parties, who all of them were pro-life. And I said, listen, I want to do something different. I want to do 32 premieres in 32 states. We want to invite 32 governors, 32 local congress of each state. I want you to be the ambassadors, because you are federal legislators. And instead of having actors or singers in the red carpet, I want you to be the ambassadors of this movie, because I want to bring art and politics and ethics together to serve women, life, and family. And it was very successful movement. It turned into a movie to movement, because after 15 state, after the 10th state, 11th state, 12th state, people start raising their hands and they start saying at the premieres, I want to be part of the movement. And I thought in the beginning was, hashtag Unplanned, that's the movement. No, the movie comes and goes, and then what's next? And that's when I realized that a movement was being created, because I said, being pro-life doesn't mean just to defend the most important, you know, human right, which is the right to be born. Because if you're not born, you cannot enjoy any other right. But we don't stop there. Being pro-life means to take care of those kids who are living in the streets. Being pro-life means to and child trafficking.
Yeah.
Being pro-life means to take care of those teenagers who are suffering from addictions and they're dying. We need to be there too. Being pro-life is to be there for those who were false accused and they're in prison and they don't have the funds to hire a good lawyer to, show they're innocent. We need to be there. Being pro-life means to take care of those who are, ill, sick in the hospitals, and those who are abandoned in nursing homes and they're dying of sadness because not even their family relatives are visiting them. Just put yourself in their shoes. So then we stretch the pro-life phrase meaning in Mexico, which when you're saying I'm pro-life, they think means only one thing. I said, no, it means everything. Being pro-life means that we care about every human life, not just few or this group or this team. Everyone matters, So then that's when people say, I want to be part of that movement. And the movement was created, and I call it Viva Mexico. And so we have now Viva Mexico movement. And this movement is going to start doing many things in the 32 states. And actually, this movement is organizing the new campaign of the new movie called Sound of Freedom, which is a true story based on the true story, based on the life of Tim Ballard, which is a true story of an Homeland Security agent who travels around the world undercover, rescuing children that are kidnapped for sexual exploitation. When I met him, I fell in love with his mission, and we started working on this project for 7 years. This is 7 years of work for 2 hours of your life. When the movie comes out, I hope it touches your heart. And this is another pro-life film, but in the stage of now taking care of children who are being abused, by adults.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for that, and it looked incredibly powerful. So yeah, I was quite excited to see it when I came out. I just wanted to end, Eduardo, by saying it's so encouraging to hear from men like yourself who are taking a lead on the pro-life issue and speaking so powerfully and so lovingly as you do. And I just wondered if you had any advice for other men who might be listening, who maybe struggle to speak up. Often men are told, oh, it's a women's issue and it's not your place. And I feel it might be difficult for some men to maybe speak up as strongly as you have. Any advice for them today?
Well, it's a difficult question because sometimes I don't when I give advice, it sounds like who he think he is. Like I just first of all, to all men, sometimes you think that because this is a women's issue, we don't have any authority or any business and it's not true, because first of all, a woman that is pregnant, she doesn't get pregnant alone, so you need the men, 50-50. So right there, we're participating. So yes, it's a men's issue too. Number one. But number two, there's three types of men. Men should be the protector, the one who is protecting, the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So there's men that they pregnant a woman and then they run to the hills. They disappear, No, that's a coward man. You need to assume responsibility. You need to be a real man and to assume responsibilities and to protect your child. But then there's a second man, the one who doesn't run, but actually show up to manipulate her, and he's the one who takes her to an abortion clinic. I saw like 20 men today, hugging their wives or their girlfriends, a lot of love and kissing and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is convincing her. And some of them, they want to have their babies, but because they're being manipulated by men. So of course, it's a men's issue. We're there. We need to talk man to man, brother. Don't be a coward. Don't kill your baby. You need to protect your baby. But then it's a third man, which is very, very sad. This is the man who actually he wants to assume responsibility. He wants to do the right thing, but he has no voice. I saw a few men in their knees begging his girlfriend, the mother of his child, please don't do it, please don't do it, please don't do it. but he has no voice. So he's like a ghost. So she goes inside, has the abortion. The guy is in tears. Nothing he can do. But it's very unfair because if the baby is born, then they call that man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we men need to be informed first, so we know what's going on right now, and then and you know what? If you are grateful because you're alive, the best thing you can do to show that gratitude to God is to go and save another life. Because you know what? Don't wait until you are in a vulnerable position where you're dying and you are expecting someone to come and to save you, to learn how important it is to go and save someone who is in that position, which is right now the babies in the mother's womb. You know, that should be the most sacred place on the planet. That should be the most beautiful, that every single time that a man see a woman that is pregnant, we should vow. I mean, it should be, this is sacredness right there. And unfortunately, is the most dangerous place in the world right now. There's more death happening there than any other place in the planet. It shouldn't be like that. So we can change the game one at a time. I don't know who is listening to me right now, but you have talents that God gave you. You have skills. You have certain gifts that only you have, and the best thing you can do is to put all those gifts to to make this world a better place. And there's nothing better than you can do to make this world a better place than to save another life. That's what hero means. If you want to be a hero, let's all be heroes. We are called to be heroes.
Absolutely. I want to assure you, Eduardo, that it certainly isn't just men that you inspire. I think you're just inspiring to anyone who listens to you because you speak with such passion on this subject. So thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a real honor, and we're really blessed to have you with us. Thank you so much, and for all the work you're doing.
Thank you. God bless everyone. And I'm going to be praying for you. I don't know all the names that are listening, but God knows. And please pray for me too. So we pray for each other so we can be faithful to God every day.
Amen.
Every day for the rest of our lives. God bless everyone.
God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eduardo.